stadium lights, with 3 beer buzz before halftime. My heart racing like it's 4th and 5 on a Midwest Saturday night.
Welcome back to Mizzou Storytellers. Welcome to 2026.
I know, it's been so long.
It's been so long we forgot to introduce ourselves. I'm Dave Matter with Mizzou Athletics.
I'm Loretta Jones with Mizzou Athletics.
And we're joined, of course, by producer Steve Sowers, who is having a drink right now. Not that
I
kind of
am.
drink, just some water, I think.
It was a holiday gift from one of the hosts of the podcast.
What?
Miss
You got
Loretta
a Christmas
Jones.
gift?
Yeah.
You did too.
I know, it's in my bag. I have it in my bag. I didn't want producer Steve to see it
I know, I didn't take
On my
mine out
way
until I had
in.
given it to him.
to ruin the surprise.
Well, I was like a little bummed in my head because I'm like, oh, I would love to just have it sitting out waiting for him. But producer Steve has to unlock the studio, right?
Yeah.
And I was parked and I saw him walking in ahead of me. And I thought, all right, fine, I'll just give it to him. But when I came up here, he wasn't in here, so it was great.
Oh,
I was able
no.
to put it on his little
Oh,
desk,
nice.
and it was there waiting. What is this?
It was nice. It was a pleasant surprise this morning.
Very exciting. I brought mine home yesterday, and my kids were like, "Where'd you get that? Wow, you can buy those?"
Yet Dave was all upset. He's like, man, I would have wanted one of those for Christmas.
Well, I mean, maybe we should put a link out there and sell some merch.
I'm not opposed to it.
I mean, if the podcast can start generating revenue, who knows where we can take this thing beyond our amazing sponsors and
Oh, that'd be
partners.
fun.
So, got another show today. It's been a while.
It's been a minute, but we have what I would consider the framework of a list of upcoming guests.
We do. Producer Steve, I was in a meeting the other day, and Deputy AD Marcy Girton said, "Dave, do you still do your podcast?" Which is like, a little part of me.
Soul crushing.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Why, yes, Marcy, I do." And she's like, "I have an idea for a guest," which was great, and I won't spoil it who it was. It was not her. She should be on.
But it was somebody we already had on our list.
I said, "Marcy, that person is already on our list, so we will be reaching out soon," which was exciting after my heart was crushed. Marcy's very busy. She may not have time to listen to our podcast.
My husband doesn't even listen to it, so I'm pretty sure that it's okay.
I almost said mine either, and then it would sound like a reference to a husband.
Yeah,
but
no, it's okay.
it'd be awkward. All right. So, is our guest here?
I think so.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
There he is. All right. Let's bring him in. He's a father. He's a husband. He's a Saluki. He's a broadcaster. He's a legend. He's the voice. He is Mike Kelly, and he is today's guest on Mizzou Storytellers.
Very.
How about that
exciting.
intro?
Yeah.
Thank you. You forgot to say old.
No.
With a capital OLD.
No, you're not old.
Exclamation point.
He is
No.
Old Hawthorne.
Oh. Have you heard that ad once or twice? Really? Does anybody know where I live?
Yeah, I got in trouble for saying
People
the
know
name
where
of
we
our
live.
neighborhood
Yeah.
on the podcast when we had Joe Swingle on, because me, Loretta, and Joe all live in the same neighborhood, and I
Yeah.
said it out loud, and they're like, "Oh, you shouldn't have said that." So, but we all know where you live.
It's not true that I've asked the new owners, Raleigh and Tina Bartles, to add gates to every entrance to Old Hawthorne. That's not true.
How much do you love Old Hawthorne, Mike?
You know what, Dave? It has been a. Do you really want me to answer it?
Yeah,
Because
sure.
It's,
I mean,
it's been a wonderful.
You ask rhetorically all the time.
I know.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful place to live. When we moved back from St. Louis in 2014, I still needed to be on the east side of town with easy access to St. Louis, or I-70, I should say. And it was just convenient. It was really kind of, if you want to know something, Tim and Crystal Elliott played a huge role
Really?
in us moving where we are because we purchased the home from Crystal's mother. And so,
Oh, cool.
yeah, it's
Did not know.
it's nice. We love it there.
How many
I don't know
doors?
if you knew that.
I know you love it there. How many doors down are you from Coach Pinkle?
Not enough.
Is he like borrowing a cup of sugar and like
no,
needs some milk? or?
no, he's like 2 doors down. Yeah, I love Gary, as we all do. But Gary has a tendency, when he's home because his garage door is always open.
Oh, yeah.
And his car's sitting on the driveway. But I've gotten calls as he and Missy are on their way to, St. Louis or Kansas City to catch a flight. Hey, I left the garage door open. Or, I left the garage door. The lights are on in the garage. Can you go over? And the best was, it's like over the holidays a couple of years ago, and he's in Florida. I get a phone call. Hey, what are you doing? I said, well, kind of getting ready to go to bed. And he's like, the alarm's going off in my house. Can you go check
I like
it?
how he led with, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. Can you go check it? Okay, Gary, you want me to walk to your house at night, get shot while you're enjoying life in sunny Florida over the holidays? Yeah, no. But it's great having him there. It's, you know what's neat is because it keeps, for me, that connection to his era, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so, he still obviously talks to a lot of his former players and staff members, and so we have the opportunity to connect, on that and many other levels.
Yeah.
So,
He's the best.
That's so cool.
Okay, so we're gonna dig into you and your career.
Yeah.
ooh.
I know everyone hears you talk about everybody else. We want to talk about you.
Yeah. Where do we begin?
Okay, folks, this is the point where you tune out,
No.
find a good book.
Don't say that.
not a
No,
lot-
we need him
not
to
a
stay
lot
on.
there.
At least we need to get to the ad reads, Mike.
I
Come
know.
on. Jeez. Okay.
All right. True or false? You were born in East St. Louis.
I was St. Mary's Hospital.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, did you live on the east side all through growing up, high school, until you moved out after college? I assume.
Yeah, actually, I think I left home my sophomore year in college. I was playing basketball at the time at then called Belleville Area College, and moved in with some roommates into an apartment at Swansea, and then went to SIU Carbondale. From there to Olney, Illinois, Champaign, and away we go. But I grew up on the east side, a little small town, and actually it wasn't in Dupo proper, D-U-P-O, by the way. It was north of town, kind of on the edge of the Cahokia-Dupo border, if you will, a little small cluster of homes.
Okay. And I have seen, is it your high school or your college basketball photo that do you still carry that around with your
I have a couple.
with your
yeah.
full head of hair?
I had a full head of hair.
I believe.
In fact, I
Loretta's
go to
never
T.O.
seen
Barrett
it.
all the time.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it
tell
was
T.O.
similar.
Full is an understatement.
I will tell T.O. Barrett my afro was better than yours. What? I have a picture.
She needs to see it.
I need to see this.
I'll pull it up.
It
but,
reminds me of. I see the movie Fletch.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Or
That's a
for the
good
older
reference.
audience, maybe my circa, Bernie from Room 222.
So did you ball like T.O. Barrett?
Yeah, no, not quite.
More of a stretch four.
I played a little guard back in the day.
Oh,
a
look at
little
that.
Forward.
How about that?
That was
Gosh.
7th grade.
Look at that.
The bibs, the fro.
You know, it's nothing like a fresh set of bibs for a grade school picture.
That's not great. You said 7th grade. That's junior high, my friend.
There you go.
Looking good.
Mike, it
Please
might
show
be
that to
worthy of putting that up on the camera, yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh,
There you
yeah.
have it. So, God did not bless me with a full head of hair later in life, obviously. So,
It happens.
you know, back in the day, and it was the late 70s, the 80s, and so,
Yeah.
styling.
Yeah, for sure. So when was so you go to Southern Illinois? When did you first get behind a microphone then in the world of sports?
That was while I was at SIU.
Yeah.
We had it was a radio TV program then, so I guess it was my junior year. I think my first broadcast was, God, it would have been Labor Day of 1982 on a small campus cable station called WIDB, and it was heard only in the dorms, right? And so I'm coming in, and it's the first time I've ever done a sportscast, and WIDB was kind of like this back in the day, kind of like more of a cool rock station. When the DJ kind of laid back, says, "Hey man, don't worry about it. There's only 1 million people listening." Literally about hyperventilated, Yeah. So that was the start. Yeah. And here we are today.
Yeah. So what's next then? Like when do you get the call from KMOX? Is that or you go before that? You go to Illinois, right? Did women's basketball, women's volleyball?
Before that, actually. So I left March of I guess it was probably '84. I'd graduated. I'd stayed on for a couple months working at WCIL in Carbondale for a dear friend of mine and a mentor named Mike Reese, longtime play-by-play voice of SIU Carbondale. And there was a radio station owner who was a fellow Saluki named Gene McPherson, who had another SIU grad, Gary Peterson, who was working there. And Olney, Illinois. Do we know where Olney is? It's on the southeastern border
Producer
of the
Steve?
state of Illinois.
I know
And
what Olney is.
it's known for
They're the pretzels,
white squirrels.
the white squirrel.
It is the place where white squirrels are indigenous
Pretzels.
Good try.
in
Well,
the
no,
state
what
of
the
Illinois.
mascot? What's the high school mascot there?
Olney Tigers.
The Tigers.
Yeah. Steve, turn off your mic now. You've added enough to today's show.
Illinois is full of crazy high school
Like the
names,
Cobden Apple Knockers,
or
right?
the two topless wooden shoes.
Or no, we can't
They're off
talk
the
about
rails.
Pekin because that would not be proper in this day and age. But anyway, went to Olney, Illinois, and literally I was told I was going to do nothing but sports.
Right.
And I arrived there, and I hosted a show on the AM side of the radio. It was the moniker for the station was the Memory Maker, hits from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And then I
Wow.
did like a hot hit radio shift from like 12 to 1. And literally like 4 days in, I'm on the Watts line. Remember a Watts line? Calling friends that I knew saying, I got to get out of here. A buddy of mine who I'd worked with in Champaign, Todd Manley. Todd would go on to become the program director at WGN and has had a great career. His dad worked at a radio station in Champaign, WDWS, owned by the News Gazette in Champaign. And Todd said, hey, they've got an opening in sports. And so that Thursday night of my first week on the job, I drove to Champaign, Illinois. I interviewed for the position. I was awarded the job, drove back to Olney, and the next day put in my 2 weeks' notice.
Wow.
This is the 80s in Olney, Illinois. 3 weeks into being in my first apartment, I got my security deposit back, and the landlord prorated my first month's rent and gave me money back. So I went to Champaign like bobbing and weaving. Man. I thought, wow, I got money here. But you know, the experience in Champaign, I worked for a guy, the late Jim Turpin, who passed away a couple of years ago. He was a longtime play-by-play voice for the University of Illinois, football and basketball teams, and he opened so many doors for me that I didn't realize at the time. I was doing morning sports. I was coming back after working a split shift and doing a talk show 5 nights a week. He introduced me to, with others, a guy named Tom Bay, who at the time was the women's sports information director at the University of Illinois. Illinois had a really good women's volleyball team and was going to the NCAA tournament. They'd started, I think, 30-0 or were 30-0 in the season. So they said, let's broadcast the NCAA tournament. And they came to me and said, you need to do it. And I said, I know nothing about volleyball. And literally, Mike Hebert was the head coach. Don Harden was his assistant coach. And in the weeks leading up to the NCAA tournament, I would go to practice, sit in a chair on the baseline next to the assistant coach who would verbally walk me through everything that was taking place.
Wow.
And so then the next season, I ended up doing women's play-by-play for the Illinois volleyball team, who went to the Final Four that year. I became the first broadcaster east of the Mississippi to travel with a Division I women's volleyball team and do all of their matches. So I did that for a couple of years, which was a wonderful training ground for what I am doing now, because the sport of volleyball never yearns for excitement.
Right.
There's always constant movement. So
Right.
it taught you how to selectively edit in your mind what you're about to say, which obviously helps with the pace of basketball and football. So that was a wonderful opportunity. I got to do women's basketball, did some high school sports. And so it just kind of laid the groundwork that prepared me for what would be the next opportunity at KMOX.
Yeah. And that's when you get a call from
At the time, it was Ron Jacober.
Ron Jacober. Okay.
Yeah, who said, so the football Cardinals, you know, you may not realize this, but the Cardinals, who are now in Arizona, actually were in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And before that, Chicago. But that's another topic for another day.
I went to a game. I remember.
Cardinals were leaving. There were 2 members in the KMOX sports staff, Bob Mayhall and Nancy Drew was her on-air name. She was married to Larry Wilson, who was the general manager of the Cardinals. They were going to Phoenix following the team. So I had, if I back up just a little bit, in 1985, the Chicago Bears come to Champaign to train for the Super Bowl because the University of Illinois was one of the few schools that had a bubble in the winter that
Oh, cool.
that covered their stadium. So I'm at a news conference in Urbana, Illinois, in 1985, prior to December of '85, and I hear this big booming voice from across the way, and I recognize it to be Jim Holder from KMOX. So I go up to Jim, introduce myself. Hey, I'm Mike Kelly. I'm from Tupelo, Illinois. I want to work at KMOX. So, oh, big boy, let me tell you. Next time you're in town, come see me. And so I did. In the spring of what would have been '86, Rob Silverstein, who would go on to become the producer of Entertainment Tonight.
Oh, wow.
Rod said, we don't have any opportunities. Go back to Champaign, become our correspondent on the University of Illinois. So anything that would happen, pregame voicers, postgame voicers, interview, breaking stories. I did that and never asked for a dime. Did it for 2.5 years, never asked for a dime. But what it did for me is it gave them an opportunity to hear my work, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to critique my work, which hopefully would put me ahead of others, right?
Yeah.
So football Cardinals get ready to move. Jacober calls and says, hey, would you like to come in and audition? Absolutely. Go in. It's, I think, April. I auditioned for the job. This would have been April of 1988. Audition for the job and, drive back to Champaign, and I call my buddy Jim Holder. I'm like, hey, how do I get the job?
Yeah.
You got to get to Highland. Robert Highland, who the longtime legendary senior vice president of CBS Radio, the general manager of KMOX, who Bob Green, who, Dave, you remember, terrific columnist for the Chicago Tribune,
Yeah.
once wrote an unbelievable column about the work ethic of Bob Highland. He was your classic workaholic. I'm not kidding you when I tell you he would show up at the radio station at 10 p.m. and work all through the next day.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
He was so involved in the fabric of the civic community that is St. Louis that that he would spend time before midnight or before 6 a.m. when he would go to Mass working on all of his civic ventures. Jim said, you got to get a hold of Highland. How do you get a hold of Highland? 314-444-3201, I think was the number at that point in time. But you better get to him early because, he comes in at midnight, sometimes a little after. He works until 6, and then he walks across the street to the old cathedral for Mass and then comes back. Once he starts his CBS day, it's over. You're never going to talk to him.
Yeah.
Like, if you got to go to his assistant, you'll never talk to him. So I formulated a plan, and I set my alarm every Friday morning at 4:15. And at 4:30, I would pick up the phone. This is for multiple weeks in a row. And I would dial 314-444-3201. First call went like this. Robert Highland. Mr. Highland, this is Mike Kelly calling from Champaign. I want you to know how much I want to work at KMOX. We are still going through the process. Click. That was the extent of the conversation. But you keep digging, right?
Right.
You keep digging. And so literally that was in April. So now we move forward to like early June. Robert Highland. Or he'd pick up the phone and he'd say, hi, Michael, how are you? Every Friday at 4:30. So then I knew I had an opportunity. And so, yeah, that set the stage. And then I guess it was July of '88. I started working at KMOX, maybe June. And, it was a wonderful, wonderful place to be.
Yeah. And what was your role there? Like, what shows were you
I
doing?
started as just a sportscaster that I'd cover the Cardinal games. I'd do a Cardinal postgame sports open line. And then I do sportscasts on the weekends, sportscasts in the night, get audio at times. But yeah, again, as you know, baseball's big in St. Louis, particularly on KMOX. And my first year, I'm doing Cardinal postgame with a guy named Bob Gibson.
Oh, wow.
Kind of a legendary
Yeah.
figure in baseball, but great guy, terrific guy, very intense. But again, just my exposure to, to baseball in St. Louis would eventually start hosting a sports open line at night. I would do on Saturdays. I mean, how about this day, Dave, in terms of, and Loretta, I'm sorry, but Robert Highland would bring me in. And he'd say, listen, we want you to do this, this, and this. And so a Saturday morning, they used to have a show called The Trading Station, Trading Place, Trading Station. So I would host that from 7 to 8. And then until 8:30, 7 to 8:30. Then we did a show with the late Mary Phelan called Games People Play. And it was literally a game show on radio. And then that would transition into, Sports Open Line at 11 o'clock. And then I hosted the Sports Editors Roundtable. And again, for a kid, and again in my 20s, I'm doing a couple nights a week with Bob Burns and Bob Bragg,
Oh, wow.
two legendary figures in sports writing
Right.
in the city of St. Louis, and two rivals, one with the Post-Dispatch, one with the Globe. And I got to see this longtime rivalry unfold every Saturday on the radio because we had a show with those two guys together. And it was just, for me, I'm a sponge. Like I'm soaking in as much of the knowledge as I can get from these two guys. But so that was again a great training ground and an opportunity to do a lot of things. But also, you get a chance and you walk in and Jack Buck's standing there and you see Dan Deerdorf and Bob Costas walks in every once in a while and Dan Kelly is still alive and still the late great announcer for the St. Louis Blues and it's just. It was, really a dream come true at that point in time. I never thought I would leave KMOX. I really did.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, yeah, I mean, you weren't there for very long before you took over, or before you did Tiger Talk, right?
Well, I started doing Tiger Talk in '89, and that's again a Mr. Highland thing. Joe Castiglione's idea was to move the show to a location. Before, Bill Wilkerson would be in St. Louis, and the football coach would be in Columbia. And it was like, let's take this show on the road and go to a location. The first show that we did back in '89, Bob Stull's first year, it's the building's no longer there. The old Days End out by Highway 70.
Okay.
So Robert Hyland came to me and he said, you're a young guy with a young family. At that point in time, I didn't have kids, but it was, you're going to have a family. How would you feel about driving to Columbia on your off day, which was Monday, to do this thing called Tiger Talk? I'm in, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sign me up. Great opportunity. I lived in South County, Oakville at the time.
Okay.
So that's the very tip of St. Louis County. The halfway mark is about Warrenton. So every Monday, I would leave, hopefully be on the road by about 4 because the show started at 7. I would get to Warrenton about 5:15, and go to McDonald's. 2 cheeseburgers, large order of fries, large cup of coffee. $3.12. $3.12 in 1989. And I think into 1990, I'll never forget driving through the drive-thru at McDonald's and say, lady says, it's $4.50. I'm like, what do you mean it's $4.50? It's $3.12.
You know who I am.
Yeah. So, and then later I would drive through the McDonald's with a late Mizzou donor and a dear friend and a former member of the board of curators, Bill Kokas, who he and I would share rides to catch the team plane to go to games, and we'd stop there, and it was old home, if you will.
Yeah. So you were doing Tiger Talk for football, and then you picked up. Did you do basketball?
Picked up
as well?
basketball when I started doing basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
91.
92 season. So I'm there doing Tiger Talk. Rod Kelly, the late Rod Kelly, terrific person.
Oh, yeah.
God rest his soul. He got sick. Could not do the full complement of games. Joe Castiglione knew that I had a basketball background, asked me if I would like to, fill in a couple of times. So I filled in a couple of times for Rod. And in the 90-91 season, I joined Tom as his analyst.
Tom Dorr.
Yeah. Tom, at the end of that season, thanks to Joe Castiglione, whose friend Steve Shanwald was the executive vice president of the Bulls, got the job doing TV for the Chicago Bulls, and that led to, as he likes to say, only 6 rings. But anyway, so then that opened the door for me to do play-by-play for basketball.
So go back to the early days of Tiger Talk with Norm Stewart. I believe, if I remember this right, Joe Castiglione, his job, because he wasn't AD yet, he was like
Senior associate AD, something like that.
Yeah. His job was to man the phone lines.
Man the phones. Yeah.
Think about that.
So cool.
Tiger Talk, can I help you? Yeah, I want to talk about, whomever. Anthony Peeler. Okay, just a second. Joe, write down my note. Anthony Peeler. Yeah, so Joe had that job, and then he would hire Julie Dorn,
Oh.
who
Okay.
was working as a GA, I think, at that time in athletics.
Sure.
Yeah.
What were those shows like with Coach Stewart when? I assume there wasn't any delay or anything, but like, did you ever when you're taking calls, especially,
Right.
maybe coming off of a
you know,
rare loss,
So we took calls on.
and
Tiger
you're still a
Talk.
relatively young guy. Was that
Yeah.
intimidating to be next to a
Little bit.
guy who was
but he
on
made
his way
you
to
feel
become a
warm.
legend?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he made you feel comfortable. But
Yeah.
a little bit. A classic, right? And when I first started doing play-by-play and would interview Coach before every game, he would always say, "Now, Mike, before you start the recorder, ask me if there's anything I want to talk about, because there may be something I want to talk about." Got it, Coach, no problem. And the number of times that I would say, "Hey, Coach, what do you want to talk about?" "Well, Mike, we want to talk about this, this, and this." 3, 2, 1. With Norm Stewart, Mike Kelly, Tigers getting ready to play Oklahoma. "Hey, Coach, you wanted to, visit a little bit about this. No, Mike, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? Like a hook, like, sinker, you know. But no, and you know, the classic, Norm used to, a couple of things. I used to tell Pinkle, because Pinkle's the one who stopped taking phone calls. We're not taking phone calls anymore on the show. Well, when men were men, Gary, we used to take phone calls. You know, hey, Coach, this is Billy down in Springfield. Like, when are you going to start playing? When are you going to start playing Missouri State or Southwest Missouri? Well, Billy, here's the deal. When they start playing Drury, we'll start scheduling Southwest Missouri State. Click. You know, I mean, before that, I'd had opportunities to host the Ask Lou Hinson show and the Ask Mike White shows at the University of Illinois, so I got a little bit used to that. But working with Coach was fantastic. It really was.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what that world would be like where you have no idea what these people are going to say.
Oh, and they have the ability to change the question, right? And maybe mislead you just a little bit. You know what? It is what it is. And, you know, talk show hosts around the world deal with it on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. I remember one of your Tiger Talk shows at Harpo's with Coach Pinkle, and it was when he was still taking calls, and it was after a tough loss, and his dad called in. Do you remember that? To kind of just cheer him up a little bit. And I remember being in the audience, and I'm like, how awesome is this? It was really cool.
Or when Larry Smith was the head coach, and he had a running back named Brock Olivo, and Mrs. Olivo would call to inquire about playing time for the young running back out of Washington.
Yeah. Well, he got his carries eventually. Yeah.
He did.
That's awesome. So you start doing basketball full time in 91, 92, and you're with Tom Dorr. And then when did the partnerships change? Who was after that?
So Tom, 90, 91, I work with Tom.
Right.
Tom leaves, 91, 92. My first year doing play-by-play. My first color basketball analyst was
Joe Buck.
Joe Buck.
You're suddenly like the grizzled veteran compared to Joe Buck at the time.
We had so much fun driving back and forth between St. Louis and Columbia. And
he was right out of college, or was he still
still trying to finish up just
at
a
Indiana?
little bit at Indiana.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's funny because his dad, and I will always call him Mr. Buck because of the immense respect I always had for Jack. Mr. Buck would refer to us as the two fledglings. When are you two fledglings going to begin your career?
Yeah.
And to which for the last 35 years, I said one of us is still fledgling. The other one's had a pretty good career. In fact, congratulations to Joe. I was so happy to find out he was going into the Baseball Hall of Fame. I texted him that day, and it was just, I know he was genuinely stunned by the honor.
Yeah.
But so well deserved. So cool.
Well, he learned it all from you. Those early
I
fledgling
would
days.
suggest that maybe there was an organic influence from his father.
No.
So your early 90s then, you're doing basketball. Did you think football would eventually you'd be there in that booth, or how did
Never
you
really
approach
thought about it.
Yeah.
Never really thought about it. You know, Bill Wilkerson was doing it, did it for 17 years. You know, Billy and I were working together at KMOX in the morning, doing, Total Information AM. So really never even thought it being a possibility. And then, again, the Cardinals come into play because they're in Arizona, and they reach out to Bill, who had done the games in St. Louis, to come to Arizona and do the games, and he accepted, and that opened the door for me, Joe Castiglione, and Roger Gardner. I'll never forget. I was at my home in St. Louis, and they call. It's like mid-morning. Step outside on the back deck, or back patio, if you will. And they said, we'd like to offer you the opportunity to do play-by-play for Mizzou football. And I was floored, emotional, grateful, stunned. You name the emotions that I felt at that day.
Yeah, incredible.
Well, and you said early on, like talking about making the move, and you and Lori, it was just you and Lori.
Yeah.
When did the kids enter the picture, and how did all of that change your decision-making as you moved along?
1991, the twins, Shannon and Sean, were born. They're now 34. One living in Los Angeles, the other one living in Chicago. It's a great question because they were born in April. I was actually in the PA announcer at Busch Stadium at the time.
Oh,
wow.
She was pregnant with the twins. We knew that there was a possibility they could come early. going a little bit different direction, so I apologize. Do a game on a Saturday evening. Did live at Shannon's with Mike at his restaurant. Come home, and she's like, "I think my water broke." I'm like, "Well, I thought that was either it did or it didn't."
Right.
Anyway, so she laid down. I went downstairs, started watching TV. Wake up at about 4 o'clock in the morning with bars and tones back there on the old TV when they used to shut down stations. Got up the next morning. I had to be back at the stadium because I was working sports on a Sunday on KMOX with Ron Jacober. We always did it from the ballpark. Talked to her. She said, "Listen, I'm just going to check in with the doctor." So I go to work. Call her at 11 o'clock, first break in the show. And she says, "I'm going to drive myself to the hospital." I'm like, "Let me call my sister. Let me call my mom and dad." No, I'm fine. So, yeah, Fred, this is how good of a father I am. Is that for the birth of our first child, twins, early, she drove herself to the hospital. So, but that, it changes because, fortunately, Lori understood the importance of my two jobs at the time. It changed in terms of maybe other opportunities that you might consider moving forward, and it brought more of a. I don't know if it did it then, but obviously later in life it certainly centered you more in terms of what's more important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
When were the twins born?
April of '91,
What day?
29th.
Do you remember who the Cardinals played that day?
Oh my! I did the game.
You're such a nerd.
I
You're
will
such
tell
a
you
nerd.
that I will tell you this. I did do the game that night.
The whole game?
A PA, yeah.
Okay. Beat the Braves.
There you go.
4-3 in 11 innings.
11 innings.
Yeah.
So not only did you work, you got to stay for 2 extra innings.
Yeah. The funny thing is that the morning that they were born, so it's a Monday morning. I was not doing Total Information at AM at that point in time, so I'm at home. My wife had been in the hospital. They started giving her a couple of drugs. I think trabutylene is one of them, where they're trying to stop contractions. Right. The thing is, if we can stop contractions, then maybe you can get sent home and you can have these babies, let them harvest a little bit longer, nest, whatever you call it. She calls at like 7 o'clock in the morning and says, "Hey, doctor's been in. I can go home. You can come pick me up." I'm like, "Well, first of all, you drove yourself." But yeah, no. I just got up. Let me have some coffee. I'm gonna read the paper. And then she. You don't understand.
You said, "Let me have some coffee and read the paper."
It's a Post-Dispatch. It's a good paper. Come on.
She says, "You don't understand. We're having the babies now." And I'm like, "A moment ago, you were coming home." So anyway, I rush out there. And, I'd been there the day before and was in the room with her right after the baseball game. And, was come swaggering in, I'm going to have, a couple of kids today. And I walk into the room where she was the night before, and she's not there. And I lose it. Oh my God, you must be the expectant father. Come this way. So, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Now, as involved as you had become in athletics, and obviously you love sports, did your kids take after you?
No, thankfully. Yeah, no, they it was funny that all three of the girls, and Megan, our youngest, is 34 and lives in Brussels, Belgium, showed a little bit of an interest early on, like Shannon and Sean tried their hand at t-ball, and it was clear that sports was not kind of like in their wheelhouse. Megan used to play upward basketball. She loved that, but the thing she loved the most was the starting lineups.
Oh,
yes.
They still do it.
Yeah.
And
Will matter. Every Saturday.
But, yeah, no, they tried golf when they were, I think, in grade school, a little junior program. At that point in time, we had moved to Columbia. It was like, Dad, it's hot.
Yeah.
And we're chasing a white ball. Like, what sense does this make? So, fortunately, they had other interests that led them on their way.
Yeah.
So back to your career. 94, you get the call for football, and was that a Kellen Winslow year? Who'd you work with?
Kellen.
Yeah, for 1 year.
Yeah, I had a great time. Yeah, one year. Yeah. We don't communicate as much as we once did, but still hear from him every once in a while. when I grew up, Kellen was at East St. Louis Senior High School.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a high school referee and used to work a lot of Kellen's high school games.
Wow.
And so, I've known about the juggernaut that is Eastside for virtually all of my life. And so then to watch his career at Missouri and then on in the NFL and then to get to work with him.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Gibson moment. Like, wow, I'm working with Kellen Winslow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And then he abruptly leaves before the '95 season.
He did.
And you guys needed an analyst, and one of our favorite people in the world, who would have been the best guest ever on Mizzou Storytellers if he was still with us. So tell us the story of what happened next.
I tell you what, Dave. I tell you what. John Cadillac.
Yeah.
Joe Castiglione went to John, literally just down the hallway from where we are,
Yeah.
in the break room, and said, "Hey, Coach, Kellen just resigned. I need somebody that can do the first game with Mike. Will you fill in for a couple games?" "Yeah, sure. Okay, buddy. No problem. Happy to do it. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we got it." Walks into my office. "Hey, Kelly, what do you think, man? We're going to have some fun." "Yeah, Coach, can't wait." Yeah. He was the best.
Yeah.
There's so many. You say John Cadillac, I just smile. He just brings
Yeah.
a smile to my face. I mean, we had 17 wonderful years together. He used to bring. People now either stand or sit in chairs, high-rise chairs. John had his little hunting stool that he used to bring, and because it was the most comfortable for him. But thinking about John and Doll and his late wife and his kids.
Yeah.
Joni and Johnny, and it's just many, many memories, fond memories. Yeah.
Yeah. He's the best.
We were working together, here in this building, right? And he was down the hallway in development, and I used to be right in the next office, and then across the hallway where just that one over there in the corner where somebody else is right now.
Volleyball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, volleyball.
Used to be the AD's office.
Yeah. Anyway, John, one time he calls me and he said, or he grabs me and says, "Come on, let's go get some coffee. Got to talk to you." Kind of middle of the afternoon. John was a coffee drinker all the time. Styrofoam cups in the break room here in the Hearn Center. John, grabs a cup of coffee, pours it, tastes it, realizes that it's cold, takes the styrofoam cup, puts it in the microwave, just hits a button, starts telling me the story. The microwave is right behind me, and it's going, and I'm looking, and here comes it, starts to drip and drip and drip and drip, and next thing you know, you've got an entire, cup of coffee on the tile floor because he blew up the styrofoam cup. And he turns around and looks at it and said, "Man, that sucks." Walk out the door.
Was the mdarchive white? Because it
it
might
was-
still be in that break room right now.
Stained.
Yeah, it was dark. I think it was dark.
Some
Yeah,
coffee
but-
stains still.
Yeah.
Caddy.
Yeah, we're doing a game of Colorado, and as you know, at the foot of the Flatirons, you get some winds that will come down, and
Yeah.
occasionally that press box would shake because of the high winds, and we're getting ready to go on the air, and the press box kind of buffets a little bit, and Cadillac grabs me by the shoulder. He says, "Coach, if this thing goes over, it's gonna suck."
On the air.
No, this was before the air.
Before the
but,
game.
yeah, so many. Just so many things. A couple of great moments that I always remember. I've told this to people before, but Larry Smith in 1997 broke the years of losing at Missouri, the 12 consecutive years, 13 consecutive years. And he did it by winning at Colorado.
Yeah.
That was the game that guaranteed Missouri would not have a losing record. And I look over at the end of the game, and Coach Cadillac has got a tear in his eye.
Yeah.
And the significance of that is that John Cadillac was Missouri through and through. Grew up in St. Louis, played at Missouri, coached at Missouri, became a development officer at Missouri later in his career, but loved the Tigers so much. And it was his program. It was his university. And to see Missouri return to where he always thought it should be, a winning football program, meant so much. And then I think back to the first Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
When Tony Temple had his historic day, and again late in the game, looking over, and Coach has got a tear in his eye. And why? Well, because he was so proud of that group of players for returning Missouri on that stage to the plateau he thought it should always be in college athletics.
Yeah. What just a legendary figure around here.
It was so great.
Yeah.
I mean, just
We could tell caddy stories. We
Oh
could
my
have
gosh.
We could have a John Cadillac podcast where we just bring people in to tell stories. Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah. So then your basketball. You were with Gary Link for a long time.
Yeah, it was
Couple decades.
So Joe Buck, then John Sundvold,
That's right.
Yeah.
then Jim Kennedy,
Okay.
and then Gary Link. And
Yeah.
again, Gary used to sit in front of Joe Castiglione at the Hearn Center, and Joe says, "Oh yeah, I'm going to hire Gary because he talks the entire time the game's going on anyway." So,
With his hands usually.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think it was 17 with him too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just,
What-
I was gonna say, it's just so amazing. All the names that you just listed, the amount of alumni that are so invested in Mizzou, and they want to stay with it. They want to still be involved.
Loretta, you know what's really cool, and you get to see this because of your position and the connections that you have. But for me, through the years, right, the neatest thing is the connection with the former athletes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that you cherish the most. I mean, I love the coaches, love working with them, love the 80s that give you the opportunity, right, because we all work at the favor of the athletic director. But I think back to the number of student athletes that I still stay in contact with. And, Zach Abron comes to mind, former running back from St. Louis, from Lake St. Louis. And I don't think he would mind me telling the story, but his freshman year, he wouldn't look at you. He would look down, right? But by his senior year, he was looking up. He was smiling. He was engaging you in conversation. And that's it's the transformations like that you see as kids go through this process. You learned it as a student athlete as well, and so that's so whether it be Corby Jones or Devin West or Rob Reedy or others, it's just it's neat to hear from them. you know. Just a weird story. A couple of years ago, I guess was it last summer before last. Lori and I are in Chicago, and we're on Michigan Avenue, and I literally walked out of a store on Michigan Avenue right into the chest, basically, of Dre Golston.
Oh.
Like, who would have thought that,
Right.
And
Yeah.
so we got a chance to hug and catch up. He was on his way to, I think, the French Embassy to be able to get documentation so he could go play overseas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so it's just neat things
Yeah. How do you, working with all the different people you have next to you, whether it's football or basketball, do you have to adjust to them or do they have to adjust to you? How's that work?
I think there's a little bit of both. I think there's a certain cadence that I have that all broadcasters have that they have to get used to that. I try to make it simple. I mean, if you think about it, the play-by-play guy's job is the who, the what, the where, and the when.
Yeah.
The analyst's job is one job and one job only. Why?
Yeah.
Why did it work? Why did it fail? Why is this being successful, etc. And so, but yeah, I think there's adjustment on both ends. And so you try to, a lot of different techniques. Coach Cadillac and I, for the first couple of years, sat literally right next to each other, and I would tap his hand. I would tap his hand. Time to talk. Howard and I, the last couple of years, have started not the tapping, but more just being next to each other. We had gotten to the point where we had so many people in our booth that were kind of more spread
crowded
out,
there.
right? And so it's like it's a little harder to communicate. So we made that adjustment. But and I've been blessed really to work with a lot of neat people, a lot of good people, and so a lot of people better than I am.
Oh, no,
One
don't
is
say that.
as someone who, didn't grow up with, didn't have an initial connection to Mizzou. How have you found yourself developing into a Tiger?
Wow, that's a great question. I think time, does that for all. Did I go to the University of Missouri? No. Did I apply to the University of Missouri? You'll never know. But I living in St. Louis, they always did, whether it be, the radio, the TV, or the newspaper, they always covered Mizzou. And so I always felt like I had a connection, and then seeing guys from the east side that would come here. I mean, Eric Wright and I played high school basketball against one another when I was a freshman and he was a senior at Assumption. And he once ran over me on a football field.
Oh.
So,
You weren't the only one.
yeah,
Right.
But at the end of the day, you're just. I think as you become more entrenched, more ingrained, become more part of it, obviously, we all like to learn, right? And so early on, you spend more time learning and listening. And now over the last 35 years, maybe I'm in a position where people are listening to me when it comes to some of the topics that come up. But yeah, it's been a run. It's been fun.
You've seen a lot of historic moments, good and bad for Mizzou, just some epic moments. But tell us about during COVID. You were in this room.
I think in this chair.
One of those chairs has been replaced.
I wasn't going to say anything. But what was that challenge like? Because you're watching this monitor, our road games.
Yeah.
You and Chris here in this room.
Jeremy Washington, at that point in time, it was Matt Weingartner.
Oh, gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Matt Weingartner would sit here at this table. Chris and I would be over there. This big TV would be turned towards us, and we would be in our headphones with effects from game site that were being fed to us.
Yeah.
Doing play-by-play off of the video feed that the individual schools would give you. And let me tell you, those would differ.
Yeah.
They weren't consistent. But it worked. And I think it showed all of us that, ESPN is still using remote announcers, because they found a way to save money on certain destinations. Golf uses a lot of remote announcers. It was a strange time, strange to get used to. Fortunately, we were able to travel for football
Right.
That next season. And the next season.
20,
it was like,
yeah.
But we couldn't travel with the team.
Yeah, that's right.
And think about this. For everyone on our crew who was traveling, so engineer, producer, sideline reporter Chris, Howard, myself, traveling together, 5 of us, and none of us got sick during the season.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah.
It's lucky. Yeah.
Yeah.
We would bring our own food because press boxes weren't serving
right.
food.
Yeah.
So we would get to an individual location, and I was like, well, if we're gonna do this, like instead of relying on others, we would stop and go to a grocery store. We'd get a cooler full of, lunch meat and things like that, and of course we had to have coffee, so we would grab that and. Just try to become as self-sufficient as you could.
Yeah. Just don't lean back in the chair when you're in this
Well,
room.
okay, so the story is we're doing a game, and I was very comfortable and sitting where Loretta is and leaned back, propped my feet up on the edge of the desk, and the chair broke. And my feet, could you tell I was a diver? Because I was in pike
You
position
wore those legs
going over.
straight up.
So
We'll be sure to show the clip for our YouTube followers for sure. So.
Here and now. I've never tasted this good. Coca-Cola. Together tastes better.
Tigers leading South Carolina by a score of 20-17. Missouri had a 9-point lead at 20-11, but South Carolina has.
It was during a commercial break, right?
I still think I could, because I don't know what the window is, but I've thought about this a lot, and I've considered this, like sending that to America's our funniest home videos, and I think I got a chance to maybe win some cash.
Well, the best is, and we might have just watched this before you came in the room, was that, because Loretta hadn't seen it, was that Chris, like, he wanted to help you. But then also realized you were coming back from break, so he had to set the stage.
Or he might have said, my time to shine.
I think it was
Kelly's down for the count.
I think it was South Carolina. That's what we
he
heard.
did. He's like, Tigers up 20-7 or whatever it was. Like returning from break.
Bless his
and
heart.
you're just
He did try to help me. He popped up and he tried to help me. But what you don't see, and TV does, the video doesn't do it justice because of the overhang of that table. My feet are tangled in the stupid chair, and I have above average size feet, and so trying to get my shoes. Oh my Lord!
They stick straight up like you got thrown in a trash can.
It does.
It's like
hike position
comedy.
Everyone but the Russian judge gave me a 9.9.
Safe.
You are a chair tipper. Like I've seen you at Tiger Talk before when we were doing it outside on the patio, and I'm like worried for you that you're going to do the same. Probably because I've seen it happen. So
yeah, well, and you would think I would learn, but I'm not smart enough. I mean, we were doing a Tiger Talk at Spanky's in the Holiday Inn Executive Center.
Free
back
hot
in the
dogs.
day.
Free hot dogs for
in
the
the
fans.
middle of the dance floor, elevated stage.
Yep.
And Dan Devine is our guest, and Coach Devine, late in a segment, leans back and flips it.
Oh,
and he hit hard. Like it's a wooden, it's a wooden floor.
He's a little older
And
too
like
at that
literally,
time.
you're like, oh my, Dan Devine just died before my eyes. Like, how do we handle this? Back after this on the Tiger Night. Yeah, I mean, so you think I'd learn, but again, some things I might be a little hard-headed.
I'll never forget one night when you guys did the show at Spanky's. It was the Monday after beating Kansas at Arrowhead in 07.
Mm-hmm.
Packed house, and Gary got a standing ovation
Yeah.
when he walked into the room. Or maybe it was for you, Mike. It was probably for you, but like it was goosebump. Like that's what I remember. I took Molly's parents went because they just wanted to be there in the
Right.
moment
Yeah.
because it was so cool.
It was cool, and then you remember, like, when his team beat Nebraska in the,
Yeah.
the long losing streak. And
03, yeah.
Okay.
just the smiles. I've said this for a long, long time. When Missouri goes to a bowl game, there's a perpetual smile that falls over the face of a Missouri fan that they maintain from the end of the football season to the
Yeah.
beginning of the next season. And, going around the state and doing it many, many times with Mike Alden through our, extension, if you will, outreach program. You get to see just how, and we take it for granted, right? If we live
Yeah.
in Boone County, there's like,
Yeah.
but it's so important to so many people in so many different, not only regions of the state, but segments of society, right? That it's really humbling
Yeah.
to know that you're a part of it.
Yeah, and you've mentioned this before, but we've heard it. Like there are people out, that can't make it to the games, but they're out there on their tractor listening to Tiger
Yeah.
games, and you're like the connective
Yeah.
tissue to them, all around this great state. And when you hear stories like that, or someone, I listen to you all the time and grew up listening to you. What is that? I mean, it probably dates you a little bit, but
Well, David. It's humbling.
Yeah.
Right. It's thank you. That's the first thing that comes out of your mouth is thank you for listening. But one of the most gratifying things that you can hear from a listener is I can see the play
Yeah.
that you're describing, and someone, bless their heart, just told me that just the other night at Tiger Talk.
yeah,
When a blind person sends you a note and tells you that they see the games on the radio,
wow,
it brings you to tears.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
does.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The other night, I most definitely I turned down the volume on my TV because I was getting really annoyed with all the Smurf jokes, and I turned on your broadcast. I mean, I know so many people that do that.
Yeah,
That they'll
and-
watch the game on TV with you and Chris
Yeah.
playing over their phone or whatever.
And I just have, we all have these voice rhythms that we get caught in, and I just said yeah a couple of times as you're saying that, and I shouldn't. I don't want to sound like it's not appreciative,
Yeah.
because it is. I think radio, and part of the reason why I never really pursued TV, I have a face for radio.
Stop.
Radio's got a special charm.
Yeah.
At least from my opinion, and I always grew up on the radio. My dad would pick me up from. I never had a car, growing up. We couldn't afford one. We couldn't afford to go to games. I think I went to one Cardinal game growing up.
wow,
And lived less than 10 miles away from the stadium, but
Yeah.
we just couldn't afford it. And I just think that so listening over the years to whether it be a Jack Buck or a Bob Costas or a Dan Kelly or a Bob Starr, who, oh my gosh, former Cardinal announcer, went on to do the Angels, and is so blessed to be able to have those folks, as a part of your life growing up, and be able to listen to different styles, and a Kevin Harlan and John Rooney and et cetera, et cetera. But I think radio has a charm, and I think there's a connection, and I think that there's a deep-seated connection. And I'm being completely honest. I have a fear because radio is being minimized at the collegiate level because of the influence and the economic impact of television.
Yeah.
Radio is starting to take more of a backseat role in the opinion of those that decide things like placement of broadcast teams. You shouldn't have to do a game from the end zone,
yeah,
which you do at Auburn. You shouldn't have to do a game from the corner of a facility. And so I worry long term if radio will continue to have its impact
Yeah.
that it's had for a number of years. And the thing I would say to the powers that be is, yeah, maybe you don't reap the economic benefits from radio that you do from TV, but when it comes to the personal connections that
Sure.
the fan base have, those are generated through the radio.
Right. Right. And those were generated over time because there was a period, probably the bulk of your career, where not every game was televised.
Yeah.
And only a few
100%.
were, and that's
Yeah, when I started at Mizzou in 1997 as part of the athletic department, my role was director of broadcast operations, and so I would work closely with the rights holder, Learfield, and also with people in St. Louis that held the television rights because they were separate at that point in time, and with the coaching staff to figure out which of those third-tier games they were called were going to be televised. And there were times that Coach Stewart didn't want Game A televised, but he wanted Game B televised, and so you would work with that, and obviously it opened your door, opened my eyes to that part of the world. But I just think that again, there's a deep-seated relationship that's been established over a number of years between the fan/listener and the university.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I hope that the powers that be at B never lose sight of that.
Yeah, that's a good point, for sure. All right, are we jumping
do it?
into rapid fire? I want to say one thing before we get into our rapid fire segment. And we talked about Coach Caddy. I thought of this because I haven't talked about this on the podcast yet. I know you mentioned it in the game, but we lost a good friend, a dear friend of Mizzou athletics a couple weeks ago, in Freddie DeMarco.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if did you ever get a chance to meet Freddie? Probably not.
It may be in passing.
Yeah, but he was a special person. Had been sick for a while and passed in the first week of January. I think you mentioned it on the air.
Yeah, we did.
Man, and we haven't had his family hasn't had a get together celebration of life yet. But a dear friend to so many people here at Mizzou. Maybe not as many that are here now, but man, we could tell Freddie stories all day. But just any just quick thoughts on Freddie, his legacy.
Used to host comedy night. There was a
Yeah.
local fundraiser, and you have people from around the community.
I did it once.
I am not a funny person, right? I'm not. I don't have a funny bone in my body. I mean, if people laugh, it's a mistake. And Freddie coaxed me to do that, and I'm nervous. And he helped me write the script as he did your, I'm sure. And so just to be able to take me out of my element to do something like that. But Coach Pinkel. All right, imagine this: Gary Pinkel on the golf course. Maybe puts on a little bit of the game face that he had on the sidelines when he's playing golf. Coach Pinkel used to host an event. He'd bring in some of his friends from Toledo and those of us in Columbia that got invited. It was the Battle at the Lake.
Yeah.
And we'd go down and we'd have this golf tournament at Portachima, 2-day event. And it was serious stuff. Well, one year I can't play because of my back, and Freddie was there. Freddie and I got a golf cart. Freddie found a bullhorn. And so we were going from hole to hole, and Freddie was doing running commentary on everybody's golf shot. I'll never forget, Coach Pinkel hits a shot, and good shot, and Freddie from behind the trees in the woods, "That's the shot that got him out of Toledo." But Freddie, this phrase will always, Mikey, why you busting my balls? Why you got to bust my balls, Mikey? Come on, So, bigger heart than people will ever realize. Love Mizzou. I wasn't as close with him as others.
Yeah.
But I had an immense amount of respect and love for him.
Yeah. Freddie and I were pretty close. He one of the last times I saw him, he said, I'm going around town now. I'm introducing myself as I was Mr. NIL before NIL. And that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah. Very true.
All right. Okay. Let's dive into rapid fire. Are you
Okay.
taking odds or even? These are 5 quick questions. You don't need to spend a lot of time on.
I'm gonna do odds.
You got odds? Okay.
Yeah.
All
All right. So, best meal in Columbia.
At home.
Oh, okay.
And what
Anything
is
in
it?
particular?
Bone-in pork chop.
Do you make it or does Lori?
A little combination, a little tag team effort. And it's really something we just kind of started diving into over the holidays. But there's a former restaurant in St. Louis called Cardwell's. Bill Cardwell is a friend. Take his brine, let the meat soak a little bit. Little rub that again he helped educate me on. And yeah, really good, really good.
There you go. Okay. Best advice you've ever been given?
From Jack Buck, call the game. People are listening to the game. Call the play. They don't care what you think about the referees because you're not one. They don't care about what you think about the coach's decision because you're not one. They're listening to the game to hear you describe the play. So call the play.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Most memorable game you have ever called?
Oh, man, I've been so blessed, Loretta. Obviously, the game I referenced in Colorado, being a part of a couple of wins, 3 wins in the Cotton Bowl, the final game of the 1994 regular season in basketball when Missouri clinched its 14-0 season to win its last conference championship in basketball, beating Nebraska. Eric Piakowski's shot from the right sideline here at the Hearn Center did everything but go in. But then the play I'll also always remember took place in Boise, Idaho, with 4.8 seconds to play when Tyus Edney went the length of the court, because I've always felt this. College athletics is and will always be about kids making plays. And on that platform, that kid made a play.
Yeah.
Can I ask a sub question?
I was going to ask a sub question too. So
Okay.
You go first.
Have you ever been calling a game and during the game you knew, like, this is going to be one of those games? This is one that everybody's going to remember.
Oh, yeah, that game in '95, the UCLA game.
Yeah.
Missouri had beaten Indiana in Boise in the NCAA tournament. And Coach Stewart said, he told me before we played Indiana, he said, Mike, I'm just telling you, if we beat Indiana, we're going to beat UCLA. And that game, because of the back and forth nature and them being the number 1 team in the nation, them being favored to win the national championship, that just had a feel throughout the entire game. And Julian Winfield gets a putback basket with 4.8 seconds to play, and going to a break, timeout taken. I said, "Oh baby, I love this tournament." And I kid you not, Jim Kennedy and I turned and looked at each other, and we both had written down the same thing: too much time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Just a little. Yeah.
So it's hard for people to really grasp it, because they obviously reference the years, but I don't know the exact numbers, but your recall is incredible. Do you know how many Mizzou football games you've called and how many Mizzou basketball games you've called?
Basketball only because Jason Vanisky,
in the
when
game
he
notes,
first started, I was shy of 1,000. I was closing in on 1,000 games called in basketball. And Jason has a paragraph in his game notes, which, thank you, Jason. It's very kind. So I think the game against Georgia was 1,080 games in basketball, and I'm at 396 consecutive games in football, dating back to the start of the 1994 season.
You haven't missed a single game.
I've been very blessed, very lucky. Yeah, I had a couple of times where it was close. Early in the 2000s, I had diverticulitis and had spent time in the hospital prior to the game against the University of Illinois.
Oh, I remember that.
At the Dome, and got out of the hospital, I think, on a Wednesday. Did the game on a Saturday. And then, any other things that I've had going on, I've been able to, schedule it around.
That's amazing.
Road trips. Had my knee replaced a couple years ago during the basketball season. Had my shoulder replaced during a bye week during football a couple years ago. Dear Lord, can we stop the surgeries, please?
He's a
Thank you.
bionic man by now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. I gotta look something up. Okay. So you're at 396.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. So at Mississippi State will be 400.
Oh.
That's.
You want to miss a game so we could
Make it a more exciting.
so we can have a home game, but so homecoming will be 401. We'll celebrate you.
401.
Yeah.
Wow. Who'd have thought it, right?
crazy.
Okay, back to rapid fire. We lost
Yes,
our pace there.
we'll make it
Okay,
a little more
number
rapid.
Congratulations, Mike. This is the longest rapid fire.
Yeah.
so far.
Brian Smith probably broke every record. Nothing was brief that day. Okay, if you could call one game alongside any analyst, past or present, alive or deceased, who would it be?
Oh, I'd love to have one more game with John Cadillac.
Yeah.
I'd love to have one more game. And then on the basketball side, I'd love to have another opportunity to do games with John Sunvold. It was funny because he had retired from the NBA. He and Tam were back in Columbia, and again, that name Joe Castiglione said, I think this is where we need to go. Perfect. Met John instantly. Had a huge amount of respect for him before I met him, and then get to see what type of a person he is. But we're literally like in the first season. I looked at him. I said, "You're not going to do this very long." He said, "What do you mean? I like what I'm doing." I'm like, "Yeah, there's a thing called television that I think you're going to migrate to." So yeah. And he said, "You know what? Again, if I might just." ESPN underutilizes John Sunvold.
Oh, he's so good.
Yeah.
He is the best analyst that they have working games in the SEC, with all due respect to the others.
Yeah. Does his homework. Yeah.
I've been actually really excited as to how many games he's been assigned to in
Oh,
hours.
Yeah.
So I've been able to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Describe what it would be like to call Mizzou's next national championship.
Oh, my Lord. It's funny. So Joe Miller, president and CEO, he would want you to know, of First State Community Bank, texted me Monday night during the national championship game and said, "I can't wait till you get an opportunity to call a national championship game." And, I am so happy for colleagues that get that opportunity.
Yeah.
Was tickled to death for Don Fisher. And while he's called national championships in basketball, to get a chance to call a national championship for Indiana in football, what a story, what a finish! I was so tickled. Scott Howard, who does Georgia games, Eli Gold, who used to do the Alabama games, Chris Stewart, others. I mean, it's neat to see colleagues get the chance. And I'm completely selfish. I would love that opportunity. And I've been told not to hit the table, but Lord willing, we'll get that opportunity. I believe this from the bottom of my heart. And Dave, I think you've heard me say this. I said this to a group when we were in Dallas prior to the season. Eli Drinkwitz is going to win a national championship. I completely, in the bottom of my heart, I believe that for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
And I just hope I'm still around to get a chance to do it and watch it unfold.
Yeah.
You heard it here.
Yep.
All right. Speak it into existence. It's actually a trick question because we're going to win a gymnastics national championship. We don't do radio for that, so.
Why not? We did radio for
Yeah.
volleyball.
We should.
We can make an exception.
Well, I know people, so. Okay, final step here. Pass this along. You got to make your way back here.
Oh,
Find a place.
once again, the
I
feet are
hope it
getting in the
doesn't
way.
give you
We
like
didn't-
PTSD coming back.
Yeah,
in this
watch out for the
corner.
chair. Be careful. You want to sit in it for?
You want me to recreate the ball?
No, we're going to play it for everybody.
Who can I?
Find a spot. We're getting full.
You can't certainly cover up that one.
No, nope.
It's Lawrence Powers doing it.
Careful, it's very flimsy.
You know what?
You're right next to Mike. That's good.
How about that? Just put it right in there. Underneath Dave Manor.
That's
How
good.
about that? That's perfect.
Yep.
And Lawrence is still showing.
There you go.
Wow.
Did
I
you see?
feel official now.
Did you see we had Andy Lutz on the show? Can you believe that?
No.
That's real. That's real.
Really?
Yeah.
Andy came on Tiger Talk.
Really?
I believe his first season. Yeah, I think Andy came on Tiger Talk. Andy's the best at what he does.
Absolutely.
No
so
doubt.
cool to
Yeah.
so cool to watch the success that he and his colleagues have had.
For sure.
And by the way, Dennis Gates is going to realize his dream of cutting
Of doing the
nets.
podcast?
Oh,
Oh no, winning the championship.
do you need?
Oh wait, different dream. Different dream.
do you need me to put in a good word?
Can't hurt.
We will take all the good words that we
I
can
just
get.
want him to come to my show.
On that note,
I'm teasing.
all right, Michael, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for joining
could
us.
do this
Pleasure
for
was
hours.
mine. Thank you.
We could make this a two-parter, but we won't. We'll spare you.
But they're tired.
Yeah.
Get the bald-headed guy off of there.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mike.
Thanks.
Thank you. Take care.
This episode of Mizzou Storytellers on the Inside Mizzou Athletics podcast is brought to you by Shelter Insurance. Ranked number 1 in customer satisfaction for auto insurance in the Central Region by J.D. Power 5 out of the last 6 years. We're your shield. we're your shelter.
Mike Kelly.
What a guy.
What a guy.
What a
Just
guy.
the best. The best.
You know what's cool is, I'm gonna pull a Dave Matter and like do a little humble brag here. And around Hall of Fame, it was funny. I had probably 2 or 3 different people text me during the football game to say, the voice just said your name on the radio.
Oh, did he?
Because he was talking about Hall of
Yeah,
Fame
yeah,
and
yeah.
put it together. And it's just cool to me that to them, like man, that's a big deal. That's a celebrity. They just said somebody's name that I know, and
Oh,
that's
cool.
like people associate him with Mizzou football and just like on this
Yeah.
pedestal.
Yeah.
So pretty cool.
Yeah. No, he was great. He nice little subtle pitch there about moving the seats around for
Right.
the radio announcers. Like I had anything to do with that, or anybody in this room did.
I can't imagine. So at Auburn, at a stadium like Auburn,
Yeah.
they're in the end zone.
Yeah, even like when the last time I was there covering a game at Auburn, the press box, you're in the end zone.
Oh wow.
It's rough. I mean, you still see the game. You're there for free, so nobody's complaining. But
Yeah.
Not the most optimal viewpoint.
Yeah,
Right.
and I mean, space has always been a thing. Like at Cameron Indoor for Duke, I think a lot of people do like the rafters. Like even sometimes television has to go up there,
Vanderbilt's
so-
like that for basketball too. You are way up high. Yeah.
Well, because they have that raised court, right?
Yeah, and then their
Such a strange setup.
their gym is just very unique. Yep. All right, we got a lot of catch up to do.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, we do and we don't. We have a lot of catching up for our listeners. Dave Matter and I have seen each other so many times since we were here last.
We had a watch party for the bowl game.
Yep.
Didn't go great.
Which I don't recommend.
Party was fine.
I don't recommend anyone do that with Dave Matter anymore.
Why?
Let's see. Let me go through. Number 1, he's on his phone the whole time. Number 2. Number 2, we're big fans of like the pausing and talking and like we don't want to interrupt the game, so we pause the game. Before we scored our first touchdown, Dave just
Oh.
announces, there were 6 of us there. Dave announces, "Oh, are we behind?" And we're like, "Oh, I don't know." Like I thought he was just genuinely asking. He's like, "Oh, because we scored." And it hadn't even happened yet.
I thought we were live. I
Well,
thought
clearly we weren't live because you just saw
Well,
the score on your
I assumed
phone.
maybe one of our folks posting content was wrong, and maybe they jumped the gun. Instead, we were up 7-0. Great.
Yeah, I think it was by the 4th quarter, we had shamed him into taking his Apple Watch off.
Yeah, that's what it was. I was getting alerts.
He was
Yeah.
getting alerts, and he's like, "I can't help it. I can't help it." And we're like, "Take it off." So he had taken his watch off in the second half of the game so that he couldn't see what was
Sorry.
happening.
Sorry for ruining the bowl game.
You are the entire reason that we lost.
Yeah,
So,
pretty much.
Yep.
Well, then we got together for New Year's Eve. The family did.
whew.
Producer Steve, New Year's Eve at the Matter House turned into let's all take pictures of Dave as he falls asleep on the couch.
I have so many. And it's just,
Kids were like posing next to me, like it was like Weekend at Bernie's.
it was.
Yeah.
It was so
So
great.
you have like a hat on and some glasses.
There's
It
like
was
a whole
late.
s-
It was
Okay.
very late. It was
a whole
after
s-
midnight.
There's
also.
a whole series of photos of him just like slowly falling asleep. And there was an outfit change.
Well, and it wasn't like it. Yeah, there was. I spilled a drink, but it wasn't like 10 o'clock either. This was like post midnight.
It may have been post midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We still have some of
Bring it in the
the
new
poppers, or we still have
Like the
junk on
confetti in the
floor.
yard,
It's still,
yeah.
still in the yard. Yeah, it was a good time though. We watched a lot of the shows. It was very laid back. There was not a lot of action. Just maybe a
no,
board
it was
game
just
or two.
It was just us hanging out. Yeah, attempting to play board games, and
Yeah,
then
the kids were much more awake after midnight than I was. So
than most of us. Yes, that was crazy.
good times. What else went on?
Let's see. I went to New Orleans last
Oh, that's
week.
right.
It was super fun.
Oh, the LSU game, right?
No.
Oh, you just went to New Orleans.
Yeah, we just
Oh.
already. So my coworker Justin Hairston, that works in MAF with me, he had said forever ago. He's like, one of my bucket list items is to sit courtside at an NBA game, and so I worked through alumni, figured out the easiest way to get to one was the Pelicans in New Orleans, for many reasons. So his wife and I planned this whole trip to New Orleans for him because his birthday is the first week of January. And he always gets shafted because, everybody's out of money from Christmas and people are doing dry January and everybody's tired. And so we planned this whole trip. And so Dave and I, and then Justin and his wife, Kate, we just went down there Monday through Thursday, had a blast. Went down, we went to Preservation Hall, saw some good jazz, made it to Jackson Square, did the fastest walk down Bourbon Street you've ever seen at like 5:30 on Monday because it was like, let's just walk down. Okay, that was cool. That's all we need to see. Had amazing food, and then went to the game, and then got to see the Pelicans win what I think was their 7th game of the year
Yeah, they're not very good.
against the Brooklyn Nets. So
There you go.
against
MPJ in the house.
MPJ.
Oh,
I
that's
did. We were close enough that I was screaming MIZ, but I don't think he could hear me because my voice doesn't carry very well. And it was at a point in the game where I don't think he was very happy that he had to go back in.
Oh.
Like I think they like pulled all their starters in the 4th quarter, and then they had to put them all back in.
Yeah,
And
those
they
teams
still
aren't very
lost.
good. Neither of those teams very good.
No. But it was fun. I'd never been to an NBA game, so that was very cool. So we were sitting. It ended up being. It was technically their 3rd row, but it would be like sitting in our like 2nd Tiger row. It was like caddy corner, like pretty much right behind the visiting bench. It was really, really cool. Great view, fun to watch. Their club area, amazing.
Yeah.
Lil Boozy, the rapper, was there.
Oh.
Yep, he was across the court from us. We saw him.
Little boozy.
Lil Boozy.
Okay.
Yep.
That's not thunder. That's
No.
the weight room above us. If
was,
you heard
Does
that,
that pick up on the podcast?
I heard that. I heard that through the headphones. So
Okay. That was Don Bradley putting up some weight,
behind
dropping it.
behind the curtain, our wrestling team has their weight room right above the podcast studio. So
At one point, they're just going to lift too much, and it's just all going to come crashing down. Be our last episode.
It was a good run.
It
was a good run.
Speaking of good run, we are, well, this is a terrible segue, but we're less than a month away from a big day in Mizzou Arena because we are recording this on the 22nd. Do you know what February 21st is?
I don't.
Comedian Nate Bargatze is coming to Mizzou Arena on February 21st for his Big Dumb Eyes World Tour. You can purchase your tickets on Ticketmaster now.
Well, I've already purchased my tickets.
I have too.
I just have so much going on between now and February 21st.
So-
I'm like, oh, did I forget something?
So I might be jinxing us here, producer Steve, but Nate's people reached out to see if there's any local interview opportunities for him to help promote the event. And one platform that we shared with Nate's folks is the Mizzou Storytellers podcast.
what did they say?
TBD.
TBD.
It's not a no.
Right?
That's not a no.
Fingers crossed.
Come on, Tennessee kid.
We'll see.
We got a seat here, right here
We'll
for
see.
you.
I think that'd be so cool.
It would be great.
He told me that when I was down in New Orleans. He texted me, and I was like, oh my God. I was like in an Uber on the way somewhere, and I was like, guys, listen.
Oh, that'd
Let's
be
not
so
let's not jinx
cool.
it. Let's not tell too many people like we just did on the podcast, but
Well, hopefully by the time they hear this, like it's
We'll
done
have a
deal.
yes.
Yeah.
yeah. Because we're no longer going to brand ourselves as the 6th best podcast in Columbia. We have disappointing news, but I think we can spin this.
I think. Well, so and I have further information. So go ahead.
Well, the best of Columbia ballot is out. It officially came out on Monday.
Yes.
On Monday, they removed the best podcast category.
Correct.
Wow, the Golden Globes just introduced
I know,
it this
that's what
year.
I said.
Yes.
Now, my thought is
Let's go Globes.
They knew it was going to be such a landslide that they just eliminated it because there'd be no suspense.
Yeah.
So I think now that there is no official award, we can
We
just
We are
call
the best.
ourselves the best podcast in Columbia.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said that they analyze how many people are voting on categories each year, and the podcast category received a lower amount of votes and engagement than the threshold they expected. So,
Probably because we weren't a nominee.
100%. So they said that if there's suggestions of what you'd like to see there or to come back, to let them know. So this is for all of our listeners to spam Inside Columbia Magazine
There you go.
requesting that the best podcast category
There
come
is
back.
a best TV personality category.
And a radio.
So you can listen, you can watch our podcast on your TV
Yeah.
on YouTube. So
Absolutely.
producer Steve could be a nominee, best TV personality.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. I'm just going to write us in.
It can't hurt.
That's going to be,
Yeah,
yeah.
we should launch that full-blown campaign. We should definitely launch like a Nate Bargatze campaign
Yeah.
to come in.
Yeah. So
But yeah, I had that on my calendar on Monday, and then we looked it up. It wasn't there.
it's a shame.
It wasn't available as a category. But you know what is available? Socket Fiber.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's the fastest, most reliable internet combined with local service and simple billing. Contact Socket today for voice data and internet services for your home and business. Just call 1-800-SOCKET3 or visit socket.net.
Very nice. We've had a lot of home events lately. Last week was, well, you were traveling.
I was in NOLA.
Yeah, there was some. We had a lot. We had men's basketball, women's basketball. We had our big gymnastics meet against Oklahoma. First ever home SEC gymnastics meet at Mizzou Arena.
It was so close.
Yeah, it was close.
So close.
It was close. The good news is, it wasn't our best night on the bars, but we still are number 7 in the country.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome. That's a big statement for how good.
And it looked
team is.
phenomenal on TV.
Did it? Good.
It looked so good on TV.
Yeah. The lower bowl was almost completely full.
And you could see that. Like it was really cool.
And what's like really promising is our students weren't back yet in town.
Yep.
So when we've got upcoming home meets against LSU and Florida, we're really hoping to have a really packed lower bowl and then maybe spill over into the upper bowl and be great.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm so excited for their success and how well they're doing.
Yep. As we record this, our number 7 Tigers are headed on the road. They're going to go to Alabama.
Yep.
Face, I think, Alabama's number 3. Is that right?
I'm going to defer to the sport admin.
Did you know that we're brought to you by Shelter Insurance, who is ranked number 1 in customer satisfaction?
Oh,
number
amazing.
1 for Shelter. For auto insurance in the Central Region by J.D. Power, 7 out of the last 8 years. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
All right, goals.
I was on a ranking.
I saw
kick
that.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Man, and with, again, we talk about like when we're recording this, I'm scheduled, we will still have it in some capacity to kick off reunion season this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
We got men's basketball Saturday, women's basketball Sunday, men's and women's golf and soccer the next Saturday, and then gymnastics the next weekend.
Wow.
So,
And we're also less than a month away from home Mizzou baseball.
Oh, wow.
let's go.
How about that? Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy?
It's
Yeah.
so cold.
I know.
It's going to be so cold.
It'll warm up.
It'll warm up. It'll be fine. It'll be
Will
great.
it?
Oh, yeah.
Will it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Global warming. Yep. Climate change, all that stuff. Yeah. What else is going on? Well, we do. So we're working on our guest list.
And we have, and we've got a few names, like legitimately have a few names.
Yep. We were turned down again last week by the one and only Rourke Kutchlow.
I tried.
We can call him out on because we know he's not listening.
No, he's not. But I asked him, and his response was not appropriate for me to repeat. But he did say, "And I hold you in such high regard and respect you so much, and the fact that I still won't do it tells you how much I do not want to do it."
The best part then, so he was on speakerphone. The best part is then Rourke started telling like 2 amazing stories because he's actually a really good storyteller, but not on the
won't be here.
not on the public airwaves or whatever we call a podcast.
What did Brad Pitt's people say?
They have not said no either.
You know what we
Okay.
should do is have Eric Morrison reach out to Sheryl Crow's people.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
get Brad Pitt or to get
No, to
Sheryl
get
Crow.
Crow.
I'm sure they're all friends, aren't they?
And then how do we need to work on John Hamm?
John Hamm.
Tom
would be really
Berenger.
Oh wait, don't you know John Hamm's ex-girlfriend?
No.
Wife? What is it? Who is it you know?
Oh, Jimmy Kimmel's wife.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, I was friends with her in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, she went to a school west of Missouri though, so we're not really friends anymore.
Really just like crush that friendship?
Well, let's just say we didn't keep in touch after
Got it,
high school.
okay.
Okay. No, I met John Hamm, but I do not know his exes at
Okay.
all.
I knew there was some celebrity that you knew from St. Louis.
He does have the same agent as John Anderson. I do know that, or he did at some point. So maybe John can help us. We need to get John in
Actually,
here,
yeah, now that you say that.
too. Yeah, we should probably get him first.
Let's get John Anderson.
Before we
and then,
ask
and then
him to
while
get
on,
somebody.
we'll ask him if he can get some of his famous friends on here.
Yeah, I mean that's the only reason we had Mike Kelly on. We're trying to get some of his. We're trying to get Chris Trevino on. Let's start with Mike, and then we'll move on to Chris.
Oh, Chris would be so excited.
He would be so excited. Yes. Okay. What else we got? Anything else, Steve? We've been here a long time. I missed like 2 meetings.
Yeah, no, I'm just get through January.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Are you coaching upward basketball this year?
I am coaching my daughter. This will be the first time I am not coaching my son in
Ooh.
basketball. So
Is he not playing, or you're just not coaching?
no, he's playing. It's my rule. Just once they're 12, they need to not daddy out there anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is
I'm
he
worried.
okay?
I'm worried more for me, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's going to be hard to watch a game and not be like, "Hey, get!" Like,
Oh,
I have
or
to,
you're
I
gonna
have
be
to
up,
sit in the crowd and
you're gonna
not
be up
be one of
screaming at
those-
the officials.
Yeah, I don't want to be one of those.
Oh, be my husband. Yeah.
He yells at the officials.
No,
Oh.
but he's always like, like, Logan, do this, Roger, do this. And I'm like, just cheer them on. Okay.
Yeah.
Just cheer them on.
Yeah, I'm excited. Their games start this weekend, so that's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. Will has a game Saturday. Knock on wood. Hopefully the weather holds up.
Oh, we have so much Saturday. Roger's supposed to go to the Columbia Golf Foundation golf clinic.
Outdoors?
No.
Oh.
No, up at Lang Middle School.
Oh.
I'm supposed to do that Saturday morning while Logan has a basketball game, and then Roger has a basketball game, and Amelia auditioned for Alice in Wonderland with Trips, and she got a role.
Oh, wow.
She's very excited. First musical.
What role? What
Yeah.
role?
She is the Petunia. There's like the flowers that come in. She has like 5 or 6 lines. She has a song. She's very excited. She's supposed to have rehearsal for that. It's every Saturday until like the end of April.
You need like an Uber to help out there?
I
All those activities?
I have like a color coordinated like Tetris of a schedule, and I've told Dave what's happening because I will have to be here pretty much between 9:30 and 10 on Saturday morning to set up. But yeah, we've got friends, parents helping out, and Dave doing 3 of them, and then me doing a pickup, and
Awesome.
we've got it all scheduled. And then I bet everything will get canceled. So
Don't say that. Don't say that. We'll probably get like a light dusting.
and that would be okay. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think we're going to wrap this up.
I think so too.
All right. Because our best Mizzou memories have yet to happen. This is Mizzou Storytellers.
I'm Loretta Jones.
I'm Dave Matter.
We'll talk to you next week.